It's a pleasure to have such a distinguished group here gathered together for the kickoff of our conference. Standing here in an army uniform and looking around, I certainly feel outranked, outflanked and outnumbered by the Air Force. However, air and missile defense is not only an issue for the Air Force. It's a highly political topic. And the composition of the group discussing tomorrow is testimony to that. I think the symposium comes at a very critical time. Russia has again intensified the attacks on Ukraine, mostly with missiles and drones. President Zelensky continues to emphasize the importance to support Ukraine in its defense against Russian air attacks. However, our symposium will not only discuss the importance of air defense in Ukraine and the threats coming from Russia, but it will also look at the other threats and their changing nature. We will discuss deterrence in relation to air and missile defense. We will look at our own capabilities, in particular in the context of NATO and its key purpose, collective defense. And we also will discuss how international collaboration and exchange with partners will help to learn from each other, to create new ideas, and we are indeed stronger together. So let's keep in mind the broader objective of our meeting, discuss, hear from each other, create new ideas, pave the way for the future to make our defense capacities more powerful and more effective. And I think we all agree that in the light of the current security situation, air defense and air and missile defense is one of the absolute priorities for the time being. I'm delighted to say that Minister of Defense Boris Pistorius will join us here in the next hour. He has made NATO air defense a priority, and he is keen to support the development within the alliance and the European Union.
Members of Parliament, Art and Schmidt, Johannes, Christoph, generals and admirals, political directors and senior civil servants, foreign military attachés, Doyen General Fouchkou, representatives of think tanks, business and association, ladies and gentlemen. We are witnessing a time of unprecedented technological advancements and increasing security challenges with crises, conflicts and wars all over the world. As we speak, Ukraine is fighting for its existence in a murderous war it has been forced into by Russia's brutal and cynical regime. Every day, missiles and drones are being launched by Russia, targeting Ukrainian towns and cities, infrastructure, possible even right now as we are gathered here at the German Ministry of Defense. Ukrainian cities, citizens, whether children or soldiers, cannot at any point in time feel safe. They live in constant fear, in particular of the danger from above. This also applies to Israel, where people have long lived with a permanent threat coming from the air, culminating in the large-scale attack from Iran only a couple of weeks ago. These examples demonstrate the importance of a well-functioning air defense, something which holds true for us as well. In NATO, we have committed ourselves repeatedly to more investments into our air and missile defense, including a rotational model for the most exposed allies at the eastern flank. At the same time, there are a lot of conceptual and doctrinal questions attached to these investments, in particular on how air defense fits into the entire capability mix of NATO, offensive and defensive, conventional and nuclear. This is why we invited you to Berlin to take part in the International Strategic Air Defense Symposium. In my opinion, the need of a credible and robust air defense has never been more important than today. I believe air defense to be a vital element of NATO's overall deterrence and defense. Today and in the years ahead, it will be a matter of having the right capabilities in the right place at the right time. I am therefore pleased that so many of you have accepted our invitation so that together we can think about how best to provide for greater security of our airspace. When it comes to air defense, we often refer to weapon systems, ranges and flight altitudes. But above all, we are talking about protection. Protection for our troops on the ground as well as for our citizens in the street. The fundamental importance of a well-functioning air defense system became manifest during Iran's attack on Israel last month. More than 300 drones and missiles were fired and successfully repelled. I cannot and do not want to begin to imagine the human suffering that more than 300 missiles and drones would have caused if they had not been intercepted by Israel, strongly supported by its allies and friends. Even less so the geopolitical repercussions a successful Iranian attack would have had. Unfortunately, we can see the utterly disastrous consequences of gaps in air defense when looking to our Ukrainian friends. This is why, since the war started, we have joined forces in supporting Ukraine to increase the capabilities of its air defense. The IRIS-T systems delivered by Germany was able to ward off cruise missiles and drones just one day after its arrival in Ukraine. NATO and Germany continue to stand closely by Ukraine's side. Last month, Chancellor Scholz decided to hand over another Patriot system to Ukraine, the third Patriot system delivered by Germany. This support is important, but we cannot afford to stop there. We need to continue to do more. Last week, I traveled to the US and Canada and to talk to industry and defense representatives, among them my friend Lloyd Austin, to coordinate our continued support for Ukraine, especially with regard to air defense. These kinds of cooperations are important, especially as our national and international resources in air defense are limited. In the Atlantic Alliance, we all have to invest a lot into air and missile defense. The fact that Germany has passed its highest defense budget in the history of the Bundeswehr, surpassing the 2% target, is an important milestone on our way towards strengthening our air defense as well as other capabilities. But we are all well advised not to make our investments together for the sake of better prices through economies of scale, but also with a view to more interoperability and interchangeability. With the European Sky Shield Initiative, Germany launched a multinational initiative to jointly procure interoperable air and missile defense systems to contribute to NATO integrated air and missile defense. Our aim is to accelerate industrial timelines, speed up procurement, and to procure as cost efficiently as possible. 21 European nations have already joined this endeavour. Additionally, the German Foreign Minister and I have launched the Immediate Action on Air Defense initiative to boost air defense pledges for Ukraine. Several countries have already signaled their support. This is a powerful sign for solidarity with Ukraine, and it is an investment in our own security. At the same time, Germany, together with our French and Polish partners, leads a capability coalition on the long-term support of Ukraine in the area of integrated air and missile defense, and we are constantly looking for ways to speed up the production and supply of ammunition. Thank you to everyone being involved in one or more initiatives for your important contributions. I'm convinced together we are much stronger. Tomorrow's symposium is an ideal opportunity to discuss on how best to close the gaps towards stronger NATO air defense. I'm convinced that you will have a meaningful interaction, find answers to open questions, and most certainly give us even more food for thought. Because one thing has become more than evident. The importance of airspace security is greater than ever before and will continue to be of importance. Let us join hands in assuring security in our airspace for our friends in Ukraine as well as for our fellow citizens. I wish you fruitful discussions and look forward to a personal exchange with you now. Thank you very much and have a good time in Berlin.